What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be talking about my top 4 favorite score streaks to use in Advanced Warfare. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so before we get into this, I just want to say that everything I share in here is going to be my personal opinions at this current point in time in the game's life cycle. Things are likely going to change, my opinions are likely going to change throughout this game's life cycle, throughout the year. As things get changed, and as well, the metagame will change over time. So my opinions are probably going to change, but these are my current opinions, and if you disagree with them, that's totally fine with me. Feel free to leave your opinions in the comment section below, what your favorite score streaks are, and why. I'd love to see what other people have to think. Maybe there's something that I overlooked, but as of right now, these are my opinions. So the first score streak that I feel is one of the best is simply the UAV. And honestly, just the UAV on its own with no modules attached. That's how I personally like to run it. You guys may disagree, but I find if you really look at each one of the modules, it's typically not worth it, especially at this point in the game's life cycle where I find it's quite difficult to earn higher score streaks. So the more modules you add onto this, you make it more and more difficult, and you're going to earn less and less of these UAVs. So like speed, for instance. It only costs you an extra 50 points, so maybe you'll want that, but that's an extra kill. Now, is that extra kill worth it to get something that just gives you a faster sweeping UAV? For some people, maybe it is. For me, I don't really feel like it is. Same with the extra assist points. This is one where I was really hoping you get like 25 points or 25 score per assist when you have a UAV up, rather than the standard 10. But it turns out you only get 15 score rather than 10. For having this module attached. So that extra 5 score, your teammates have to get 10 kills while you have that UAV up for this to be worth it, which I don't really think is going to happen very often. So I don't find this to be very useful at all. Out of any of these, the only module that I really feel useful at this point in time is the extra time module. It costs an extra 100 score. But I feel like it gives you, I think it gives you an extra 20 seconds on a UAV, and UAVs normally last 30 seconds, so it almost doubles the amount of time you get in that UAV for only 100 points more. So that's something that if you want, you could go with the extra time. All of the other ones I feel like aren't really worth it at this point in time. I have played around with a bunch of them, and I don't really feel like the extra score is really justifiable for a lot of these different modules. Support is one that I want to talk about separately though. If you aren't very confident with earning streaks, then I highly recommend using the UAV with the support module attached. This means you're going to earn one at least every game, or at least one every game, maybe you'll even get more. For me personally, I kind of like to avoid the support module on this because I like to use the UAV as sort of like a pace setter for me. And it kind of lets me know that I'm starting to get onto a streak and that maybe I have to play a little bit more conservatively or just be a little bit aware that I'm getting close to my other streaks, because I like using just the standard UAV as my first streak. So I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but for me, in my head, it totally makes sense. So moving on, the next streak that I really like to use is the system hack. I feel like this is one of the more powerful streaks in the game at this current point in time. Simply because it does block so much of your vision, especially when it's first called in, as well as every time you spawn in, you have that big skull icon that appears on your screen, and it's really, really obstructive. And I feel like it can actually help you earn quite a few kills if you're using the system hack with no modules attached even. I find, again, I don't really like adding any modules to this. I don't feel like any of them are really worth it, at least for me and my current skill level and my current abilities to earn streaks. I don't really feel like any of the modules are worth it, and it's fine on its own. As for the next score streak that is one of my top 4 favorite score streaks, that is the bombing run. And you guys probably saw this from my Earn More Multi-Kills video. Basically, this thing earns multi-kills like crazy, especially in ground war, if it's used properly. And surprisingly, I like to use this without any modules once again. It's a bit of a trend you're probably noticing with my score streaks. I don't like using modules on these particular score streaks because I feel like the bombing run does great on its own. The flares module I feel like isn't really all that useful. Nobody has ever tried to shoot down my bombing run, or nobody successfully shot down a bombing run of mine. The stealth one, I usually find enemies, if they're paying attention at all, they're listening, and they can hear this bombing run come in. So they can just get out of the way, they get inside, they take cover, and having the stealth honestly probably isn't going to get you many, if any, more kills with the bombing run. Now, the one that I see a lot of people using and a lot of people recommending is the additional bomber. Now, I'm not going to doubt that this is an amazing attachment on this, or module on this. It will get you more kills almost every single time, but it costs 300 more points. And I look at this sort of like a risk-reward type thing. 300 more points at this point in the game's life cycle is relatively difficult to earn, I find anyways. And I would rather earn one bombing run every single game that I play than earn one bombing run with an additional bomber attachment once every 3 or 4 games, because that's probably what it would come down to. At this point in the game's life cycle, I can earn a bombing run with no modules attached pretty much every game if I'm going for it. But add that extra 300 score and it's not really quite so easy, so I find I would rather just have the standard naked bombing run. Alright, so finally we have the Warbird, but the Warbird with a specific module. I don't like using the Warbird unless it has either the Aggressor or the Defender module on it. I prefer the Aggressor so it just flies around and does its own thing. And the reason for this is I find every time I control a Warbird, I find that my enemies are almost always using some form of like cold-blooded or whatever the one is that makes it so they're invisible to you. I find that most of them are using that, or they're inside and they have cover, and I usually only get like 1 kill with the Warbird. And that time that I take trying to control that Warbird, I am out of the fight and I'm not using my gun. And I can usually get more than 1 kill with my gun in the same amount of time it takes me to get that 1 kill with the Warbird. So I like to use this so it's AI controlled, so I really enjoy using the Warbird with the Aggressor attachment on it, or Aggressor module. That makes it so it's only 900 points to earn. It's not really all that difficult, but it is still one of the higher level streaks. And I really like the ability to just call it in and it does its own thing, and I can still continue on getting kills with my gun. So those are my current top 4 score streaks that I like to use in Advanced Warfare. Keep in mind that I don't necessarily use all 4 of these together in a single class. I don't typically use the Streaker wildcard. I usually only use like UAV, System Hack, and Bombing Run. That's my most common setup. Sometimes I'll mix it up though, and I'll go with like System Hack, Bombing Run, Warbird, or UAV, Bombing Run, Warbird. But most commonly, I will use UAV, System Hack, Bombing Run with no modules equipped at all. So, like I said in the beginning, let me know in the comment section below what your favorite score streak setup is to use in Advanced Warfare. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.